Welcome everybody to the first annual Midwest Global AI Days. We are sponsored by the Iowa Microsoft Azure User Group. So thanks to all of our great sponsors there, specifically Source Allies as our platinum sponsor, Lean Techniques and Growers Edge as silver, and Lozano Tech as a bronze sponsor. Just a brief housekeeping, we will adhere to the Global AI Days Code of Conduct. So the short story is, be nice, don't be jerks. If you do have any issues and anything, you can actually report misconduct, or if you want to see the longer list of the entire code of conduct, feel free to go to that link I just posted. You can report things anonymously there as well. So if there's anything that does happen, hopefully we won't, being a virtual event, but feel free to reach out to me or reach out to the Global AI community there as well. If you want to know a high-level plan, our agenda is going to be on Meetup. There's also a Sessionized site, and I can share that link later as well. The plan is to kick off today with the help desk bot. Then we'll roll into our workshop. After that, we'll break for lunch and then roll into the rest of the topics this afternoon. The plan will be to record every topic except for the workshop. So if there is some questions you have, or if you want to view things later, hopefully we'll have that available for you on our YouTube relatively soon. And with that, I will hand it over to our speaker today.
Thanks, Alec. Let me share my screen and let me know if you can see it. I have started the deck in presentation mode. Perfect. All right. So welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. So what we are talking today is how you can create enterprise grade virtual agents or chatbots or voice-based bots using Power Virtual Agent. And who am I? My name is Prashant G Bhoyar. I was born and raised in India, came to United States in 2007 for studies. I'm University of Maryland College Park alumni. I co-authored a book, PowerShell for Office 365. I also acted as a technical reviewer for the book Pro SharePoint 2013 Administration. I am from Washington, D.C. area of United States, and we organize a lot of community conferences. So if you are interested, you can check us out on meetup.com. And we also have a dedicated website where we post the link about the upcoming conferences and also the recording of the conferences and user group meetings. I am recipient of Antarctic Service Medal, and I got that award from US government for the work I did in the Antarctic continent back in 2008. I am recipient of Microsoft MVP award since 2017. And those of you who are not familiar with this award, I don't work for Microsoft. It's just the additional recognition that Microsoft gives out to the folks who does technical contributions. And these technical contributions can be in the form of contributing to the open source project, writing blog posts, answering people's questions on various public forums, providing direct feedback to the Microsoft product group, or creating training content and posting them on streaming services such as Twitch or YouTube. And typically this award is valid for 12 months only. And after that, you have to submit your contributions again. If your contributions in the previous 12 months were good enough, then Microsoft will give you this award for additional 1 year. Initially, when I got into the MVP program, my focus area was Office 365 apps and services. And over the years, I changed my focus area now to AI and business applications. And currently, I work as cloud solution architect at AIS, where I focus on intelligent business process automation. I know it's kind of sound a mouthful, but what I essentially do is I help the customers to implement automation. And while doing that, we use a variety of the products and services such as Azure, Azure AI, Microsoft Power Platform, and Microsoft 365. And I work at AIS Reston, Virginia office. And AIS has been providing services in Microsoft ecosystem from last 40 years. And we have been recipient of Microsoft Partner of the Year award on multiple occasions. AIS is growing and we have a lot of open positions. So if you or anyone in your network is looking for a change, you can be 100% remote and you can either locate in USA, Canada, and UK. And you can check out the openings on career.ais.com, or you can also shoot me your resume on my email address as well. So this is going to be the agenda for today. It is an introductory session. I am coming with the notion that you may not have worked on Power Virtual Agents at all, and this may be the first time that you are getting introduced to this product. And then we'll first start with, okay, why we had to think about launching chatbots or voice-based bots or virtual agents in the enterprise space. Then if you would like to create that, then what are some of the options available to us in Microsoft ecosystem? We'll talk about bot framework. We'll talk about Power Virtual Agent, how you can get started, and then how the integration story is between Power Automate and Power Virtual Agent. There is another offering from Microsoft which can help you to get started with Power Virtual Agent without additional licenses. How the authentication works. We'll have lots of demos, key takeaways, and Q&A. I prefer interactive sessions. So if you have any questions, feel free to post those questions in the chat window, or you can unmute yourself or just use the raise your hand feature in Teams and fire your questions anytime during the talk. So I think we can skip this for now, but let's go ahead with. So I always have this slide in my talk is it doesn't matter what kind of tool or technology you're using. What really matters is what kind of business problem you're solving. So this is the mission statement from Microsoft, and they would like to make data science and AI accessible to everyone. It doesn't matter what your role is, where you're located, or what kind of devices you are using. And some of the products that are coming from Microsoft quite aligns really well with this mission statement. So if you are interested in exploring the core services in Microsoft, core AI services in Microsoft ecosystem, those services are part of Azure AI. Under scenario-based services, we have bot service, cognitive search, form recognizer, video analyzer, metrics advisor, and immersive reader. And under customizable AI models, we have vision, speech, language, decision, and OpenAI. And both the customizable AI models and scenario-based services, those kind of use the pre-trained models that Microsoft has created behind the scene. But if you would like to use your own models from scratch, like machine learning models, then Azure Machine Learning is for you. Now, Azure AI is a first-party service. Now, what does that mean? That a first-party service means not only we as a customer of Microsoft can use it, but internally at Microsoft, other product groups also uses the same services that we have access to. For example, if you are familiar with Power Platform, inside Power Platform, there is a service called AI Builder or Power Virtual Agent. And behind the scene, they also use the same Azure AI services that we have access to. If you are familiar with Microsoft 65, there is a service called SharePoint Syntax, which recently got rebranded to Microsoft Syntax, and it has AI capabilities built to it. And behind the scene, it uses the same cognitive services that we have access to as part of Azure AI. Now let's talk about why we had to think about launching a chatbot or a voice bot in the enterprise space. So bots provide you a more a natural human computer interaction, and it also helps you to automate a lot of repetitive tasks and free up the resources. Bots can be available all the time, depending on what kind of tool or technology that you have used to creation of the bot. It also can be available depending on where are you. And if the implementation is done right, the bot can adapt to the user depending on the circumstances. For example, while interacting with a bot, a chat bot or voice-based bot, if the user is angry, then you can have a support added to your bot so that you can handle an angry customer or an angry user a little bit differently than a regular user. However, the number one reason why the virtual agents or chatbots are getting so popular in the enterprise space is the second one. So if you go back 2.5 years, March 2020, when COVID pandemic started, suddenly majority of the organizations throughout the world, they started asking their workforce to work remotely. Some companies were ready for it. Most of the companies were not ready for it. And because of that, what happened is the number one department who had the horrible time during that time was the IT help desk. Because first of all, the people who were working in the IT help desk, they had to first get adjusted to working from home. And if they have kids, then they have to work around their schedule as well. And depending on the user base that you have in your enterprise or in your company, some users will require more support than others. So the common trend during that time was the IT department, or especially the help desk professional, were totally were under tremendous pressure. And the companies had two options, either to hire more people so that they can support this increase in the call volume or support tickets volume, or find another way where we can address low uh, the low the low priority tickets, or let's say the tickets which are not that complicated in efficient way. And that's when majority of the companies started using virtual agents or chatbot, and Microsoft has a product for that. Other majority of the cloud vendors has products for that. And during the same time, a lot of startups also started launching their own products to solve this particular business problem. It's so treat your virtual agents or bots as an additional way of providing support and supplement your existing help desk. And if you go with the right technology or tool, then you can create your bot once, and it can be supported on multiple devices or channels. And also, one of the trend that we are seeing now in the industry is the users are expecting the consumerization of enterprise. For what does that mean is, if we are getting comfortable using something at our personal life, for example, we are getting very comfortable using Uber or DoorDash instead of calling a restaurant, speaking with someone, and then giving order, and then they will deliver the order to us. So same kind of experience now a lot of employees are expecting in the enterprise space as well. For example, if I have an issue, I don't want to call someone and then talk about that issue. What if I can then just talk with a virtual agent and try to get my issue resolved via that? And remote work is going to be norm. I know most of there are a few companies who are saying no, we want our workforce to be coming back. However, majority of the companies are still thinking about having a hybrid workforce. That means there will be scenarios where you will be working from your home, or you will be working at a flex schedule, and that time your company's help desk, actual help desk will not be available. What if I'm working from home and I started my day really early in the morning, like let's say 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, and typically most of the companies help desk run from 9 to 5. If that's the case, then you can use your virtual agents or chatbot to provide the support to your employees during that time. We are already familiar with using voice-based bots or chatbots in our personal life. For example, if you are a customer of a major financial institution such as Capital One or Wells Fargo or Bank of America or Citigroup, and if you call their customer service number, their first line of defense is always going to be a voice-based bot. That bot will ask you some question, and depending on your answer, it will provide you information, or your call may get redirected to actual human agent. Now, the same setup is coming to the enterprise space as well. And if you are interested launching virtual agents or chatbot, and if you are familiar with Microsoft ecosystem, then we have two options available there. One under platform as a service, and second under software as a service. So under platform as a service, we have Microsoft Bot Framework, which is an open source SDK and tools, and it is built for custom bot development. It is ideal for developers, so you need to be a developer to use Bot Framework. And right now, four major languages are supported: C#, Node.js, Java, and Python. However, if you would like to host your bot using Azure Bot Service, then only C# and Node.js is supported. And you can find more information about Bot Framework by going to this link. Under software as a service, we have Power Virtual Agent, which is provides you a low code, no code development for the bot development. Anyone can use Power Virtual Agent. You can be a professional developer, you can be a citizen developer, or you can be a business user as well. And behind the scene, it is built on the top of Bot Framework. And behind the scene, it also uses all Azure AI services that we have access to. However, you as a creator of the chatbot or voice-based bot doesn't have to worry about this. Everything is done behind the scene for you. And this is the link where you can go and find more information about the Power Virtual Agent. There is another open source and cross-platform tool available which can complement both custom bots built using Bot Framework as well as Power Virtual Agent. And it is available as a desktop and web application, which you can use the Composer. You can use Composer to enhance the functionality of your a bot. And again, you can go to this particular link and find more information about the Composer. So since now we have two different technologies to create the chatbots in Microsoft ecosystem, what if I have a mixture of team? I have a team of pro developers who are creating chatbots using Microsoft Bot Framework, and I have a team of citizen developers, and they are creating chatbots using Power Virtual Agent. Now, how those bots can integrate or interact with each other? You can do that. Uh, via something called bot framework skills. For example, if you have created a chatbot using a Microsoft bot framework and you would like to integrate that bot with a Power Virtual Agent, then all you have to do is deploy your chatbot as a bot framework skill. And then from Power Virtual Agent, you can easily call that bot with few button clicks. Now let's talk about a Power Virtual Agent. But before I do that, let me know if you have any questions or comments. Let's see, there is something in chat window. All right. Any questions or comments before we start talking about the Power Virtual Agents?
So I do have a quick question. The Power Automate one, is that kind of like, and I haven't played with that one before, the low code, no code one, is it kind of similar to the Alexa like skills where it's like, when this, then that level of simplicity? So somebody can just like do basic conditional logic, or how simple does it get?
Okay, so are you talking about Power Automate or are you talking about Power Virtual Agent?
The Power Virtual Agent, the low code, no code one.
Okay, yeah, I will show you the demo. Yes, it is like the entry point is fairly simple. Like you don't need to have a lot of tons of development experience to get started with Power Virtual Agent. And I will show you during the demo like how easy it is to create a chatbot and then deploy it to various supported devices or channels.
Perfect, thanks.
So any other question before we start diving into the Power Virtual Agents? All right. So Power Virtual Agent is a member of Microsoft Power Platform. And if you are seeing if you are hearing about Microsoft Power Platform for the first time, then right now it has 5 main services or products. So we have Power Apps, which is you can do for application development. We have Power Automate, which we can do for workflow automation. And if you are familiar with Azure and if you have used Azure Logic Apps, so the Power Automate Cloud Flows work just same like Azure Logic Apps. In fact, Power Automate Cloudflow Designer is actually built on the top of Logic App. Then we have Power BI for business analytics, and we have Power Virtual Agent for intelligent virtual agents. And if you would like to build external facing website, then you can use Power Pages. And Dataverse is the data service available within Power Platform. And anyone can use Microsoft Power Platform. You can be a professional developer. You can be a low code, no code developer as well. And so Power Virtual Agent sits on the top of the pyramid here. That means behind the scene, it is built using Microsoft Bot Framework, and it uses Azure Cognitive Services, and it is hosted using Azure Bot Service. And since it's a member of Microsoft Power Platform, it has a really tight integration with other Power Platform products such as Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. And Power Automate act as a gateway to the outside world from the Power Virtual Agent. Now, what if I'm writing a chatbot and I would like to do some integration with ServiceNow, or I would like to do some integration with AWS or Google Drive? Then you can do that via Power Automate. And Power Automate as a service has more than 600 connectors available. And you can build your own custom connector as well. What does that mean is if you have your on-premise legacy application and you would like to integrate that with your Power Virtual Agent, you can either do that a couple of ways. You can just spin up an API and then you can call that API from your Power Virtual Agent, or you can build a connector that can work with Power Automate, and then that will allow a lot of low code, no code developers to easily integrate with your on-premise application via custom connector over there. So anyone can use it. You can be a professional developer, citizen developer, or you can be a business user as well. That means someone from HR or someone from finance also can develop bots using Power Virtual Agents. It has a really nice graphical bot creation experience. The screenshot that you're seeing here, this is the experience that you'll be using to create the chatbots. And there you can add your business logic like if-else conditions and some other advanced looping and other stuff over there. You can also start with some let's say if your organization already has some knowledge base that you would like to use as part of your chatbot, you can do that. Similar concept is available with Q&A Maker, or at least that was your earlier name. The new name of that service is question answering. So similar features available with that cognitive service as well. The same service, same functionality exists with Power Virtual Agent as well, where if you have a publicly available website where there are some FAQs, then you can quickly scan those FAQs and start using those FAQs as part of your chatbot. You can also skip or avoid some questions, like depending on your business logic, you can do that. And just a way you can do that using some button clicks. And these are some of the key terms that you need to get familiar with when it comes to using Power Virtual Agent. So topics basically represent the conversational flow based on a different need. So you may have topics to address, let's say, HR policies. You may have topics to address finance related questions. You may have topics related to, let's say, IT help desk. And inside IT help desk, you may have a specific topic for how to address it, like you may have a topic to just to address the issues with computer. You may have a topic to address issues with your Outlook or your teams, and the list goes on and on. Then entities are the one which you can use to translate the data supplied by the user in the form of text in the meaningful entities. For example, let's say I am interacting with the chatbot, and the chatbot would like to understand the date from while interacting with the user. However, the user is just going to provide that information in the form of text, right? Like while interacting with the chatbot, let's say if the chatbot asks me like when you would like to begin your vacation, I can provide that information in multiple ways. I can just type the date. I may say next Monday. I may say like next Friday. And we as a human can understand that. Now, how I can add the same functionality to a chatbot? You can do that using entities. Then you have a node where you can connect the dots between your business logic. You can use variables. You can use synonyms as well, because the end goal of using any chatbot or voice-based bot is we're trying to mimic the behavior of a human. And when we as a human communicate with each other, we can communicate a same sentence in a multiple ways. Sometimes we use synonyms. Sometimes we, like so for example, if I had to ask you how are you, I may ask that question to you in various ways, and we would like to add the same functionality in the chatbot or voice-based bot as well. And you can do that via synonyms. And there are some triggers. So triggers, we use trigger to start a topic. For example, if I create a topic for laptop or computer issues, then while interacting with the user, while interacting with the chatbot, if the user anytime mention any of this uh, key phrases that you can add in a trigger, then that particular topic will get triggered and the corresponding business logic will get executed. You can also create there are some out of the box entities available, but you can also create your own custom entities as well. And once you create a bot, you can deploy that bot everywhere. The list of supported channels is really long with Power Virtual Agent. Uh, However, before I do that, let me quickly walk you through the demo of the Power Virtual Agent. While I'm opening up the website to start the demo, any questions or any comments so far? And let me readjust this so that the subtitles are visible at the bottom. And if you are using two monitors or two screens, you can follow the steps along with me as well. So use your favorite browser or use your favorite search engine and just search for Power Virtual Agents. And this is the link that we're looking for. And here you can click sign in. If you are familiar with Power Apps, then inside Power Apps also there is a way where you can go to there is a way where you can directly navigate to the Power Virtual Agent. So this is the Power Apps page or make.powerapps.com. And here, if you expand the chatbot in the left-hand side, then here you can see all the chatbots, or you can click create. And then this will also launch the UI to create a new chatbot as well. So if this is the first time you will be browsing, like you will be accessing this page, then it may ask you to start a trial. So you can begin a trial of that. And let me quickly walk you through the UI here. So the most important thing that you'll be seeing is this bot icon or bot panel. And here, by clicking on this, you can start creating new chatbots. If you already have created chatbots or virtual agents, then you can navigate those through using this particular panel here. And those chatbot will be listed based on environment. There is a concept of environment in Power Platform where if you would like to implement a specific policies, then you can do that via environments. You can have environment for a specific region or a specific business unit as well. And inside that environment, then you can have your automations. You can have your virtual agents. You can have your Power Apps, and you can also have some Power BI reports as well. Now, let's click on this button to create a new bot, and let's give it a name. So I'll be calling it as Global AI Developer Days Omaha. Okay, 2022. And then you have to specify the language. And you can always change the name of your bot. Like let's say you use the name right now, or later on you would like to change, you can always do that. So here you can have to specify, and if you scroll down, there is like a list of languages that are available, which are generally available, and 9 languages are right now in the preview mode. So let's me go ahead and select the English US. And then you have to specify the environment. If you have multiple environments, then you can do that. In this particular tenant that I'm using, I just have one environment here. So let's click on create. And the entire process will be done in a minute or two. And while the bot is getting created behind the scene, you'll see that some different UI aspects will be in grayed out. But as and when they will be, the deployment is done, those options will be enabled. For example, in the left-hand navigation now, entities, analytics, publish, manage, all these options are grayed out because the deployment of the bot is still going on. And as soon as that is done, then we can start looking into those particular options there. Earlier, when this product was launched in November 2019, it used to take at least 25 to 30 minutes for a new chatbot to get deployed. Before we can start customizing it. But now the deployment time has improved drastically. It just takes like a couple of minutes. And what Microsoft is doing behind the scene is, okay, looks like everything is done. So click on Explore Bot. Is deploying all the required services that this bot will use behind the scene. Okay, the deployment is done. Now let me quickly walk you through the user interface over here. So on this particular page, you see this test bot, and this is the way you can start testing your bot right in this Power Virtual Agent Designer. This comes really handy, especially when you are testing the bot, and you can always hide this. So if you click on this hide bot icon at the bottom of the left-hand side, this will go away. And in the middle section, you will see some information like how you can quickly quick start this. But a couple of things I want to highlight is if it is the first time you are creating or seeing the Power Virtual Agent, then definitely watch these videos because these videos will help you to start getting used to this product. If you have any questions, you can ask those questions in the community. And so far the record is if you post the question and someone from the community will provide you answer within the 24 hours. If you think any feature is missing, you can always submit that using Idea Forum. Now let me quickly walk you through the topics. So whenever you create a chatbot, a virtual agent, that virtual agent will come up with some system topics. And how you can identify which one is system topic and which one is not is system topics, you cannot disable those. For example, the status column is always going to be on. And you'll see there are various system topics. For example, there's a topic already built for greeting, escalate, goodbye, start over, thank you. And you can customize the system topics, but you cannot really disable those. And if I click on this, so this topic will get triggered whenever a user will enter any of these trigger phrases. And if you see the list of trigger phrases is very long, and this is the message it's showing right now. But if you would like to customize this, I can do that right away. Okay. Uh, and these are some sample lesson topics are available. If you are new, you can check those out. But once you get comfortable, you can just disable those. So you are not accidentally firing those. But now, if I would like to create a new topic, all I have to do is click on new topic. And then I had to provide a trigger phrase. Now, the scenario that I would like to build here is I would like to build a scenario so that for a specific use case. And the use case I'm looking for is, which I already built. I just want to quickly show you is if a user has any issues with the laptop, how exactly we can address that. So I created a topic called laptop issues. And here, these are the trigger phrases I have used. So this particular topic will get triggered whenever a user mention any of these words. Like, for example, while interacting with the chatbot, I say, hey, my machine is slow, or my machine is not starting. Then this particular topic will get triggered. And then as a best practice, then whenever a topic is triggered, you would like to show a friendly message that is going to be relevant for the user's current issue or thing that you're requesting. And then here we are asking series of questions here. And when it comes to asking a question, you can store the answer in multiple ways. So right now we are giving the user as provide like give the answer using a multiple choice, but I can also provide a specific entity for that. I can provide a text box to the user. I can use age, Boolean, city, or there are some predefined entities out there, like for example, date and time. And let's say if I go with date and time entity, and if the user provide the date information in natural language, this entities behind the scene will exactly find out the date from it. And of course, you can use the custom entities as well. And then depending on the answer, then you can have the different branches. And then one of the integration is if I would like to call an external API, or if I would like to do integration with any other product, then I can do that via a Power Automate. And think of you calling a Power Automate from a Power Virtual Agent as if you are familiar with custom programming, or if you're following if you're familiar with programming, we have object-oriented programming. We have option of concept of functions where we call a function. While calling a function, we pass some parameters. Then the function will do certain things, and then it will pass back some values to us. The same concept is here. So I can call this Power Automate. While calling the Power Automate, I can pass some parameters. Then Power Automate will get executed, and after the execution, it will pass back some return values. So let me quickly show you how this will look like. So I'm just going to test this chatbot inside the Power Virtual Agent UI. So I'm just going to call hello. And first thing first, since this chatbot we are using for work, it is asking for a login. And I will show you how you can add the support for authentication. OK, and I will just type my laptop is slow. OK, so now this particular topic got triggered, which is laptop issues, and you can debug this topic in the designer itself. Like since I'm using this test bot inside the designer, I'm actually debugging this chatbot. And here in the pane, I can see the variables. I can see other stuff as well, which steps are executed. Those steps will be marked with a green icon. And now we are at this particular question. And I can either click this button, or I can just provide the answer via text. OK. And yep, if I'm stuck, then what this chatbot is doing is it is calling a Power Automate, and it is actually sending a email to the help desk notifying that this user is stuck. Please go and help him. So this is kind of like a crude way we have enabled the escalation inside the chatbot. OK. Any questions or comments so far before I show you the other concepts with this Power Virtual Agent? OK, I take that as a no. So you can create as many topics as you want. And for example, here I have created a topic for a PTO as well. So let me show you how the implementation of that. So this particular topic will get trigger whenever a user either need information about PTO or would like to talk about a PTO. And then here we are asking like, OK, if you would like to submit a request for PTO, what's the start date, and the identity or the entity we are providing here is date and time. And then once the user confirm the question, then we are asking for the validation. And once validation is done, we are submitting the request on the behalf of the user here. So let me quickly walk you through this scenario. Now you may be wondering why it is asking me for logging again, even though I completed the login scenario, because we are testing the bot. Let's say if I'm accessing this chatbot using Microsoft Teams or public facing website, and if I logged in, then it will not prompt me to log in as long as my user session is active over there. So let me start again. I would like to take ETO. Okay. Okay, now the first question is asking is what is the start date? Now here, just to see whether this bot really understand natural language or not, I'm not going to provide a date, but I will be like providing a date in a fashion which typically we humans do. So next Monday, okay, and next Friday. And now you can see here, the bot has comprehended what kind of information I have provided. So it has came back with the correct date for next Monday and correct date for next Friday as well. And if I click yes, then it's going to submit the request on my behalf. And then we'll call it a done. Okay. Now, if you go to the analytics, so chatbots you build using Power Virtual Agent comes with the inbuilt analytics here. And those analytics is available to us in the form of Power BI reports. And this analytics comes really handy because it will tell you which particular topic got triggered, how many the escalation rate were there, how many user session were there. And you can also download the entire chat transcript from this analytics. Like if I go to the session, I can download all the sessions so I can find out what question the user asked and what kind of response the bot has provided. So I can then use that information to make some changes here. And when it comes to the publish, I can just publish the changes and just button click. And if I expand this manage, then here I can go to the details. Here I can update the name of the bot. I can provide the icon for it as well. And I can get some additional metadata associated with the bot that comes handy when you are looking at enterprise-wide deployment, or if you would like to do integration with telephony channels. When it comes to the channels, by default, your chatbot will always going to be available on demo website, but you can also make that available on other supported channels. So this is the list that we have here. For example, the same chatbot I can access on Microsoft Teams, Facebook, Telegram, Twilio, Line, Kick, email, direct line speech, GroupMe, Cortana, Slack. And then if you would like to do agent transfer, for example, from the chatbot, you would like to pass that to an actual live agent. You can do that either using Microsoft Dynamics Omnichannel, or you can also use your custom engagement hub. When it comes to the security, you can add support for the authentication. By default, when you create a chatbot, no authentication is selected. You can specify only for Teams, or you can also specify more manual. And here you can specify any authentication provider as long as that authentication provider supports the modern auth. And if you list here, then you can use between Azure Active Directory Legacy, Azure Active Directory V2, or generic OR2. And with generic OR2, you can basically bring any modern auth provider that can be Google or Facebook or any other authentication provider here. And depending on what provider you use, then you have to go with the specific configuration. For example, here I went with Azure Active Directory V2. So if you are familiar with Azure and if you have registered an app in Azure, then there while registering the app, once the app is registered, then we can get apps ID, direct tenant ID, and also the client secret. So I have used the combination of client ID and client secret to do the authentication via Azure Active Directory here. If I go to the skills are the one where you can go and do integration with the custom bots which are built using Microsoft Bot Framework. And you can go to this menu. There are like 4 AI capabilities that are available. Three are available right now. Topic overlay detection is generally available. The topic suggestion from the chat transcript and conversation personalizer are right now in a preview mode. So this is the typical life cycle you will be following when you are using the Power Virtual Agent. You basically will be creating, you author the topics, then you can integrate your bot with backend APIs using Microsoft Power Automate, and then you can extend with bot framework skills. You publish your bot, and then you monitor the performance, and then you and then you continue making changes to your bot. So when it comes to integration, let's say you would like to integrate with outside. If you would like to integrate with outside world from your chatbot, then you can do that via a Power Automate. And access to Power Automate is already included with the license for Power Virtual Agent. And Power Automate has more than 600 connectors available for variety of the products and services, and you can build your own custom connector as well. And you can treat your Power Automate as a extended function that you're calling from your Power Virtual Agent. And while doing that, you can pass some input values, and then the Power Automate can also return you some values back. And let me quickly show you the implementation of that here. So in this particular PTO request, once the user is submitting a PTO request, we are calling this Power Automate. And let me go to the detail here. And what this Power Automate is doing is whatever the date fields we are passing and the type of uh, PTO, it is actually logging that information inside a SharePoint. But here, like this is the input output parameters that we can use. Uh, these are the written values, but in the middle, then we can add any of the step. For example, here I'm creating a new item, but let's say if I would like to make a web service call, then I can just use a HTTP action. And then using this action, then I can make a call to a web service. And that can be my own web service or public facing available web service or REST API. And then I can provide the information. I can provide some dynamic body here so that the body has information that is coming from the Power Virtual Agent. And then I go on with my business logic over there. If you don't want to use web service, there are multiple connectors available. For example, if I click on plus icon here, and let's say if I'm interested in Salesforce, there is a connectors available for Salesforce. I can create the records in Salesforce. I can update the records. Let's say if I'm interested in ServiceNow, I can do that as well. If I'm interested with something with Azure, there are various actions available for Azure as well. So there are many actions available. So sky's the limit what kind of automation we can do using Power Automate. Again, if you are familiar with Logic Apps, the Power Automate graphic user interface here looks exactly identical to Logic Apps as well, because Power Automate Cloud Flows are built on the top of a Logic App Designer. And when your Power Automate run behind the scene, it actually uses Logic App runtime to execute your business logic. Okay, we talked about that. So in case you would like to get started with Power Virtual Agent, it's a licensed product. There is a free version of it available as part of Microsoft Dataverse for Team. And if you are using Teams in your organization, then most likely the license for your Teams is already covered. The license for Microsoft Dataverse for Team. Using Dataverse for Team, you can create chatbots, you can create Power Apps, Power Automate for free, as long as those Power Automate chatbots or Power App can work within the context of Microsoft Teams client only. That means if I create a chatbot using Dataverse for Teams, I can only access that chatbot in the Microsoft Teams client. I cannot access that on Facebook or on a public facing website. And this is how you'll be basically seeing, you'll be using Microsoft Teams client only to create the chatbot. And everything is identical except that entire thing is only available with Microsoft Teams client. Okay. Uh, when it comes to the documentation from Microsoft, there is a good documentation available, and always make sure while reading through the documentation which version of Power Virtual Agent you are using, whether it's a full-blown or standalone version, or whether it's a version that is available with Microsoft Teams, because depending on that, you will see some different information over there. And these are some of the high level differences between the free version of Power Virtual Agent versus the standalone. My recommendation is if you would like to do a quick POC, go with the free version of Power Virtual Agent available as Dataverse for Team. Once you like it, then purchase the standalone version and then use it in the production scenarios. Um, So when it comes to the authentication, right, we can integrate with a majority of the authentication provider. The recommended one is of course Microsoft, but you integrate with other authentication providers as well, as long as those authentication providers are following modern auth. And when it comes to authentication, depending on which version of Power Virtual Agent you are doing, there are multiple options available to you. For example, if I'm using Power Virtual Agent as part of Dataverse for Teams, since I have to use Teams client to access that Power Virtual Agent, I as a user is already authenticated, so I don't have to do any kind of additional setup. If I'm using the standalone version, then I have to into the additional changes with respect to the authentication. Now, when it comes to sign in. So these are various options available. If you would like to implement the single sign-on with standalone version, then single sign-on is only supported with Azure Active Directory V2. What does that mean is if you are using Google authentication via Google or Facebook, then single sign-on right now is not supported over there. So if you are interested in using chatbots in Microsoft ecosystem, and since we have two different ways to create that. You can use bot framework or you can use Power Virtual Agent. So these are my thoughts in terms of comparison of these two products. Uh, Everything is super easy with Power Virtual Agent except the licensing because it's a SaaS offering. So you have to factor into the licensing when it comes to the Power Virtual Agent. If you compare that with Microsoft Bot Framework, since it's a framework that you had to learn and you need to use programming languages, there is some steep learning curve involved in the beginning. You will need developers, and once you launch the chatbot, you will need the developers again for the maintenance and enhancement. And out of the box, a chatbot created with bot framework will not have any intelligence built with it. So you have to integrate your chatbot with additional AI services such as cognitive services or Google AI APIs to add intelligence to it. And there is no support for analytics. You have to do that work upfront. However, if you know programming, then you may find that it is inexpensive to begin with when it comes to building chatbots using Microsoft Bot Framework. However, you'll need to factor into the additional cost. For example, the cost for hosting the bot, like where you are going to host your bot, whether it's going to be an Azure bot service or your own VM. Then you have to consider the cost for your AI services as well, the cost for your logging or application insight. So you just have to make the addition of it just to get a good idea how much the cost will be. Whereas Power Virtual Agent, since it's a SaaS offering from Microsoft, you can find that information from the licensing guide there. So few of the lessons learned I would like to share with you, and these lessons learned are from the rollout of the chatbots we have did at various customer side. So use AI services as much as possible because the real intention of having a chatbot or virtual agent is we would like to mimic human behavior as much as possible. And the only way you can add intelligence to your bot is using AI services. When it comes to setting expectation, set clear cut expectation like what your chatbot will be doing and what it will not be supporting. And start slow. Like chatbot development is a fairly new thing. So start slow, address a few initial scenarios, and once you feel comfortable, then you can take on some advanced scenarios. And analytics is very important, same as goes with the telemetry, and always have a functionality to transfer a control to a human agent. And you can do that via using some sophisticated products like omnichannel or live person. But let's say if you don't have access to those products, you can also help your customer or user to open a ticket on their behalf. For example, if you're using ServiceNow, maybe your chatbot can then help your user to open a ticket in ServiceNow because the chatbot is not able to proceed with the troubleshooting. Or the scenario that I showed you where the chatbot is just sending an email on the behalf of user, even that kind of support also helps because the situation that you would like to avoid is a user is interacting with the chatbot is not able to resolve the issue. However, there is no escalation at all. That means the user will not come back or interact with the chatbot again. It's always good to have fusion of tools and skills. And I have seen more success with the chatbot implementation where you have a combination of pro developers and citizen developers and business users sitting together and working on a chatbot. And again, remember what kind of tool or technology we are using doesn't matter. What kind of problem we are solving matters a lot. So these are some of the references that we have used. In case you would like to get your hands dirty with Power Virtual Agent, and uh, you would like to, and if you don't have access, there is a good program available from Microsoft called Microsoft 65 Developer Program. All you have to do is go to this particular link, sign up for the program, and via that program, you can get your personal Microsoft 365 tenant for free with E5 licenses. It's a really good way of having your personal tenant where you will be global admin and you can play with SharePoint Online, Exchange Online, Microsoft Teams, Power Platform products such as Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent. You can always sign up for the free trial. In case you would like to get your hands dirty with Azure and you would like to get your own Azure subscription, these are various ways where you can get your own Azure subscription. My personal favorite is if you have access to MSDN, go to your MSDN portal and activate your free credits. If you don't have access to MSDN, you can always sign up for free trial. Or you can also explore Azure for students if you or someone in your family has a student account. So hopefully the content we covered today made you explore Power Virtual Agent and you'll go home and play with it. And if you don't have access to Power Platform or Microsoft 65 for personal development, definitely check out Microsoft 65 Developer Program. We covered all this stuff. And with that, we come to an end. These are my contact details. If you have any follow-up question, feel free to email me. I'm also available on LinkedIn. With that, we come to an end. Thank you very much for listening to me. And please let me know if you have any questions or any comments.
I do have a question. So I noticed that the chatbots have language parameters.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're writing a lot of the custom what it responds to, but have you done like multiple like bilingual chatbots? Is it any easier if you have one and then go to another language, or is it kind of you start from ground zero again every time you want to do a new language?
That's the excellent question. So you can, if you would like to have bilingual bot, you can address that problem in two ways. The approach that Microsoft recommend is you just start creating two separate chatbots for two different languages. Because then you are passing the development of that to a team, let's say who's familiar with Spanish. If you don't want to do that, then what you can do is there are some language services available in Microsoft ecosystem, and same services are available with Google and other stuff as well, where as soon as, let's say, you can ask the user upfront what language you would like to speak to, and depending on the language, then you can use this AI services to do the real-time translation, not only for the user's response, user's question, but the bot's response as well. And it's very easy to do. Like, since we can call Power Automate, and inside Power Automate, let's say a user provides some info like a text, I will just directly call a Power Automate and then use a language service. That language service will give me response, and then I will just show that response to the user.
Gotcha.
But that is not that efficient because we are introducing some additional calls in the mix, right? That's why having two separate chatbots is always a good thing, especially if you are seriously considering the latency and other stuff.
Right, and just because you've written it in English doesn't necessarily, to your example, translate one-to-one to Spanish, or
right.
There might be slang or something that might be better.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
And in that way case, then you are at the mercy of the service that you're using for translation.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. So thanks everyone. Thanks for joining, and do let me know if you have any follow-up questions. I'm available on LinkedIn and email as well. With that, I will stop sharing. And is the recording still going on?
I will turn it just